This is also one of my favorites. So this was like my one protest song that I've ever written. Oh no, I wrote one on New Fragility too. That was like an anti-gun violence song. But this one, when I moved back from New York, I stayed at my dad's house and he was living elsewhere. And I was like using the basement for all of these recordings. And he went to the Naval Academy and he was in the Navy. He's you know, affiliated with the military in that capacity. And I think his heart goes out to a lot of the people who've died in wars, maybe more than I can understand. For example. But he had this cutout of all these kids who died in Iraq. You know, arguably pointlessly. And when you see them all of these pictures, like it was this big cutout, like all of these kids, and it said who they were, what their age was, where they were from, you know. And when you put a face on this stuff, it makes it that much more meaningful, and it makes me that much angrier, frankly. So I was working in the basement and I came up and I saw this. I guess, I don't know, I might have been having lunch or I just was standing in front of it, reading all these kids' names. And it inspired me to write this upon this tidal wave of young blood. And it has a lot to do with how adults can misinterpret the intentions of children, like just get it completely wrong and put them in harm's way. And it has everything to do with this sort of like pig-headed theory that they know what's right just because they're old enough to tell the difference between right and wrong, or some bullshit like this. Like, anyway, so it's the last line, they are going out to bars, they're getting into cars. I've seen, like, they're drinking and driving, and like, I know what's good for these kids, so I'm gonna, fucking send them off and get them shot up. That sort of thing. I was like full of that kind of anger. America, please help them. That's that. At that time, I had a real sense of like the country. I mean, it's even more difficult now, but maybe. But at the time, I was full of anger for the people who were in positions of leadership, trying to tell people what to do and being cowards themselves. And I had evidence in front of me of kind of their cowardice, and so I wrote a song about it. Now that everybody's here, could we please have your attention? There is nothing left to fear. Now that Bigfoot is captured, and all the children really light, light, and all the children really light, right. Now all the children all alright. Now that everybody's here, could we please have your attention? There's nothing left to fear now that Bigfoot is captured. Bigfoot meaning Osama bin Laden. And I was in New York during 9/11. I lived up there. And I remember like people didn't like Bush. And then he came in as like the heroic man because they listened to the news and he had a heroic face and all this other shit. I know that everybody has like a more positive light on him now because of the idiot who's in charge at the moment. But I must say at the time, nobody was that fond of him. And I don't like people not taking the lives of these kids seriously. That's all. You know what I mean? So it had to do with that. And I hate it when people think they know best. And it's just like, I think it's the dumbest thing that there's this macho theory that if you puff out your chest and pretend to know what's right, then you're a strong person. I think that's such bullshit. So vulnerability is very important to me as a manly thing. You know what I mean? And admitting you don't fucking know all the time. So this was in direct response to that, situation. And a lot of people don't know that. I'm happy to point that out, actually, that this was like as close as I kind of get to a protest song. And it's like catchy, but there's the meaning behind it. There are people who say, why, oh, why, oh, why? Now there are other ways to die, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why? But I promise how to wave, oh, God, oh, God. and the repetitive scenario, like I feel like, I mean, maybe a bit of Patti Smith there, obviously Van Morrison. I like the effect of like, hammering on a lyric, if it makes sense in the context of the song, of course. But to me, live especially, it really has a dramatic effect. I mean, we even counted upon this Tidal Wave of Young Blood. We even counted how many times I sang Child Star. And it was 30. And I was like, oh my God, I said that 30 times. But it doesn't feel like it. I mean, or it does. I don't know, whatever. Oh, okay. So that's another thing that I can say about Tidal Wave is that it was kind of hilarious. But so not only did I count 30 times, did I say Child Stars, and that was interesting, but also when after mixing, we went up to this guy's studio. His name was Joe Lambert, and he was in Midtown Manhattan. Or I think it was just me and someone else from the band, and Adam Lasses was there too. And the song didn't, I think it had a fade, but it lasted just like a couple measures too long or something. And I was like, well, it's too long. And we didn't fade it. We didn't really fade it at the right time. So, a bit of an oversight. And I was like, I don't like where it ends. It's just slightly too long. So in the studio with the tape machine, because it was recorded to tape, right? I was just standing there. I was like trying to time the ending. So that's why the album ends as it does. I was like, Child Stars, boo, I just hit the stop button on the tape machine when I thought it was the right time to finish. So, yeah, so that's kind of cool. That's a cool little aspect of that song. Good way to end the album, too. We are meant to stay alive. Who send your children away?